He's back. Howdy folks. And I've got a square, a test bar in my quill. It's not a quill, but in the knucklehead, and we're just checking that I've got that set up vertical. And somewhere I have a torch that I've been running up and down the back, but essentially my head looks vertical. I'm going to poke some holes in my piece. I've got my wiggler on board. Fire the machine up. Hit the allow button. Okay, so now I know that's true. I'll pick up my center, and this is for the rotational hole. We established a hole with a stubby 6, went through with a jobber 6. I've just set up a hole with an 8mm, and now we're going to use a taper shank 8mm. That's quite a small accurate shut. That's my little Albrecht shut, so I'm happy with that. Bearings feel okay, so that's good. Just give that a quick wipe. Taper shank. Right, we're through with that taper shank. And all we're doing here is just whacking it out of the spindle. I'll put a 5/8 drill in, taper shank, and change the speed, but you can see how it's working. So on and so forth. Alright, so there we go. Through, drop that down, and all I'm doing to change the drill is just put a bar in, pump it on the top, bar in, pump it on the top. Okay. So now we're going one size under our 7 or 3/4 reamer. Right, so this is 47/64. One size under. I'll change the speed again. Alright, so we've got the reamer set up, 3/4 reamer. We're in back gear. So here we go. Okay, looks like it's going backwards. It's not. The table's coming up. I can see dust coming through the hole, so it's cutting. Okay, so next up I'm boring this out for the top bearing, which is 1.25" diameter, to include a flange nut, and we're going 500 thou D. So 1.25", 500 thou D. Just cutting there. set my dials. Right, okay, I've got chatter, so I'm going to slow that down. So we've got the bow help to head. We're just using it as a boring head. I'm setting the depth of cut of 1 millimetre. So cut's going that way. I'm just locking it there. And then we'll bore into the hole. We're taking 1 millimetre at a time, and I've got 6 millimetres to go. It's going to squeal a bit. 1.5 millimetre is too much. And that's where we had microphone issues, so I'm going to do a voiceover. So here I'm coming down the bore. I'm picking up on the dial indicator now, and I'll just keep cutting down till I hit me my figure that I'm aiming for. I think that's going to be on the 90. When I get there, I'll drop the work back down, increase the bore again, and go again. So I'm just getting to my number. I'm on it there, and drop down. We're going to keep nibbling on till we get to our final dimension. Okay, so we've just swapped out, put a chamfer. We're going to chamfer that hole now. That'll do, mate. Nice. So now I can drop my bearings in. I'll be able to tighten down onto those with my clamping nut. I'm going to chamfer the bottom one. You won't be able to see that. Happy days. So after a bit of a kerfuffle, we've bored out this pocket. I've re-reamed the hole at the bottom so that it's all nice and tight. There weren't any burrs. I've knocked off the edge here. This is my top bearing, thrust bearing, that's going to sit in there. That'll be the size of the nut, which will extend down into the bearing to give me a bit of extra length on the nut. So that's good. I'm still on centre. At this end, I'm going to put a stud, because I'm bolt through that end, and I'll bolt through this end as well, and then I'll be taking a milling cutter and cutting out the dovetail. I'll use a threaded milling cutter so it doesn't wind its way out of the setup, and I'm going to work out how far I can bring the cutter and set a stop on the carriage, and I'll mill both sides. Talking of the carriage, when I did get that centre sorted, I locked off the table, pulled up the carriage stop and snugged both of those up. I didn't want this moving. I didn't want the table moving while I had this centre lined up, because the boring head does want to throw things out a bit. Okay, I'm bolted off at both ends. So I want the table to be able to go that way and not past there. Okay, so I've set the stops. My cutter will come to there, then cut back this way, which is going to cut our dovetails, and I'm going to, this will be covered with the top of the slide. What I'm going to do is just make a little divot so I've got somewhere that I can use a pair of calipers just to make sure that I'm keeping everything central. On this slide this hole is central and all the work is symmetrical. So I'm guessing that that's off centre, you know, on the inside of this. Anyway, I hope so. Right, just going to make a little hole there. We've got a little centre drill on there, so I'm literally just going to twist that, and then I have zeroed the dials, but measuring off dials is flipping hard with backlash and all the rest. So just a quick reminder on the Clarkson, I've tightened that up, and then you tighten your cutter in, take about half a turn back, tighten your cutter, that's it, we're in, that's tight. I will knock that a little bit, and that cutter will stay still without working its way out. So now we're going to cut some stuff. Got my depth mic, but essentially I'm just going to take that stylus out, it's a long one, and go back down to a short stylus. We're cutting in at about 10 thousandths of time. We're about 10 thousandths high here, this height. What I'm going to do is rough it out both sides. I'll measure across the original and get pretty much the same on here. So yeah, we're on with it. We'll just keep going. Okay, so we're through there. We'll just clean up. So I want to get it to within about sort of 5 thousandths, and then I'll drop the height and I'll cut a thousandths at a time. High speed steel cutter, cast iron. It's quite a gentle process. When I get to the end, this bottom rung actually comes off until we get to the those ears. So that bottom rung's coming off. Right, carry on. Righties, good news and bad news. Running over the two dowels, we're about half a thousandths over, so I'll polish that in. That's fine. So I've got my two dowels, that looks great. But when I was measuring this, it's difficult to see, but that hole is not centre, and that's wider than that. Oh! So what I'll have to do is move that hole across. I'm not going back to start. I'll move that hole across. I've got to square up this end, and I'd give myself some spare, so I'll square it, leaving it a little bit long, and move the hole this way and that way. I don't know how far I've got to move it yet. I'm going to finish off just with the table set at the same height, just run the cutter off the end. This is the best finish this cutter would give. So that's the centre line. The top slide rotated about that centre line, but that centre line isn't that centre line. It's quite hard to see it though. It really is. So, I need a piece of round stock to go in the hole I bored in the wrong place fill the hole with a similar material, so it's similar consistency. When I cut it again, I'm making I'm preparing some stock, some cast iron stock. So I've got a hole saw. It's a Milwaukee hole saw. I'm going to work my way Ninja. Yeah, Milwaukee went deep. We've got clearance. I've trephined out to about here. We're going to see if we can part this off. I do have to say that the dust that these things create is unbelievable. It's horrible, gritty, dirty stuff. So there'll be a big clean-up after this, and I don't think I'm going to hit that. So it's going to be an interrupted cut. Reverse. Have to go very carefully. Right, so on and so forth. We've babied it along. We're now cutting true and round and no intermittent cut. So there we go. We've cut out a chunk of stuff. Brilliant. So I'm going to turn that down to the 5/8 or whatever. The Milwaukee did real well. Oh, I think that's impressive. The workpiece is warmed up a bit. Right, well, I've turned that down. Sound's gone funky again, but that is one tight fit. So I'm going to press that in, and then we're ready to start cutting holes again, eh? We are back on the mill, and I'm squaring off the end of the workpiece with a long series mill. So I spent ages drilling that hole in the wrong place, and now I've spent ages making a plug for it to go straight the way through out of the same material. Sliced off the end nice and square, and then dressed it up with a mill. And I'm going to locate the hole by, first of all, this is all trammed in, so first of all setting the cutter this way, so I know that's a 5/8 hole. I'll line it up with a 5/8 reamer, and then I'll take this workpiece and get the forward aft. And to line this up real neat, it's just sitting on some rests. So because these two are exactly the same dimension in the dovetail, I can clamp two bars across here. They'll locate in the same place. We'll locate that and go from there. I'm going to poke a hole. We've located the hole in this dimension, locked off the table. We'll take off the clamps, move this piece, put it on the top and transfer going down. Ooh, and that there, lengthwise, is where we want it to be. That's spot on. So lock the table off at that, And that's where we want to be drilling our hole. Nice one. So it's not much of a move from here to here. I have cut the edge shorter than I was going to, just sort of moved it along and left a bit of a bulk of that material in. Yeah, a few hours work just to save me me starting over. Winning slowly. We've put the knuckle into the horizontal position, and we're going to drill and tap a hole in the end. What I'm going to do is just I'll take this clamp off actually. What I'm going to do is work out how far I need to drop the table. So I've got my centre in. I'll come along, work out how far I need to raise the table and where to poke that old hole. Drilling and tapping a hole on the wonk. It's going to be 1/4 Whitworth, so I'll set a tap up now. So we're getting to the end of the work on this side. Then I've got to flip it, cut the steps off, and create the little round ears. So, do I want to power tap it? No thanks. I'm totally not going to mess this up. Oh, did I just say that? Anyway, let's not mess it up, eh? So just tapping through this way, I'll bring you back. So, work on this side is finito. You can see we've got a heavier table now. We're all finished, and I've got to cut these away, put the ears on, and then up underneath, around the pivoting point underneath, I'll cut a groove for an O-ring to stop muck getting underneath. Never mind. Feel like I've made progress. I'm gone. Thanks for watching.